Hello. Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. It is I, the Solitary Toker. So funny, the camera is there, and yet I look at myself. It's the Solitary Toker coming to you live on a Tuesday night at 8:25 p.m. Come and hang out with me. I am about to grind up some more outdoor cherry pie. If you saw my last video, or my second to last video, I show you it. It's really funny. It was like this gigantic nug. And I go to the dispensary today, and all they have left is like little itty bitty mini nuggets. So, let me get those. Excuse me. Terribly sorry, darling. So, this is my medical cannabis, if you can read that. And it's a hybrid. I usually go hybrids. A lot of sativas will be too intense and they'll give me a headache. I play around with indicas. So it's like if I want to just, have a different kind of like more of a body high, I'll go an indica. But if I just want to have like an up and groovy high, I'm going to still be up. So anyway, random. So here's the bud. Look how green it is. Sorry, I know it's kind of out of focus. So, grinder. I love my space case grinder. I've had it forever. I actually gave it away to a friend of mine because I was going off herb on my another cleanse and I was super serious about it, so I gave all my stuff away. And then later when I fell off the wagon again, I was kind of like, can I have my grinder back? Because I gave her 2 of them because I had 2. So I just said, can you just give me 1 back? And she was like, sure. I mean, she wouldn't tell me if she was upset anyway, that kind of friendship. But anyway, so, yep, the space case is like a 4-parter. Down at the bottom, it collects all the, they call it, I think it's called honey. So you can see this fine little, don't look at my manicure, it's time to go, fine little powder. So, and you can, I think you can like put that in melted butter. Sometimes when I run out of herb, I'll just toss a little bit in my last bowl, but most of it will collect down here. So you see this is part of my whip, and there's all the honey that didn't come off in the grinder. So anyway, okay, putting this away. Pulling out my herb. I just got back from a Taco Tuesday, and I had smoked before I left, and I was thinking of the phone call I had with my sister. Do you ever have that moment in a conversation with a family member where they sound sincere, but you're just like, I don't believe that. And to say to that person, I don't believe you, then you're starting a whole bunch of drama and shit. So it's like you can't even tell them, okay, I don't think you're telling me the whole story here. So anyway, I had that experience with my sister on the phone the other day. Wait, is my volume all the way up? Yep. Okay. And some of the things that she said, I could tell she meant, but it's so hard because I'm such a free spirit. I'm such an open person. You ask me any question, I'll pretty much tell you. And she's so closed over. She's so private. So it's really hard for me, like free spirit and closed over. It's just like we clash a lot. So anyway, so I'm taking her oldest child on a trip to Scotland for like a week this September. And, it's like my niece is 20, so there's really nothing that my sister can do to prevent the trip from happening. But she loves to think that she has control. So she'll say, yeah, I don't think the timing is right. I don't think we, And I said, I think my niece should be in on this conversation. And she says, well, I don't. And it's just kind of like, well, guess what? If you don't, I will, text my niece and tell her that you are trying to stop the trip. It's kind of like, You know, I don't know if my sister doesn't like the fact that I'm spending over $10,000 on a vacation with my niece. Like, for some reason, that makes her feel uncomfortable that I'm spending that much money. And so I offered, I said, well, if you want to pitch in, you can pay for her airfare. And they told me that they would, and then they backed off and said, well, why can't you pay for everything? Maybe we should just cancel the trip. And she's always been like that. Like, I texted my niece at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, California time, and she got it at 4 a.m., and it woke her up. And my sister totally bitched at me about it and was like, I sent it at 2 p.m. Look, here's my cell phone. It says 2 p.m. sent. And she goes, maybe you should just stop texting. Like, oh, really? Like, that's something that you can control. You think just by telling me to stop texting that I'm just going to stop texting. Yeah. Oh, well, you know, she knows best. Hi, Ranger. My dog is here. There's his nose. Hi, buddy. Yeah. I'm talking to the computer. I know. I'm a crazy person. Anyway, time for token. Here's my very broken vaporizer. It doesn't even have a knob anymore, so I use like the line in the middle of this thing. Every time I tried to push the knob back on, it would push this into the casing, so I was like, fine, fuck it. This thing is so bulky and such a pain in the ass, but it's so much better than burning the herb. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. So yeah, going back to Taco Tuesdays, I toked before I went, and because of that, I was cooler. I know that sounds strange, but I'm such an anxious person in social venues. I have a really hard time. Like, so if I hadn't smoked, I would have been really awkward. I would have been like embarrassed. You know, I would have probably put people off. But because I toked, this is part of my medical cannabis treatment. Because I toked, I was able to kind of just be chill and calm and cool with myself and not like stress. Not go, oh my gosh, I feel like such an idiot, or like stress out over, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have said that, or whatever. So I had the ability to just kind of be myself and not worry so much. And that's what herb does for me. One of the things herb does for me, I should say. No, I gotta keep an eye on the time. Yeah, 7 minutes. Okay. Let's see. I'm going back to Egypt this November. And I know that when I tell my family about it, they're going to be like, what? Because, one, I've already been to Egypt. And basically, I'm going to be doing the exact same thing I did on the first trip. But it's going to be better in so many ways. I don't know if you really want to hear about it. I'm a shamanic healer. At least I've been trained in it. I don't really actively do it, but I've been trained in shamanic healing. I've been taught shamanic healing by Nikki Scully, who was the official peace pipe carrier for the Grateful Dead. She toured with the Grateful Dead. She and her husband, Rock Scully, was the Grateful Dead's manager for a time. So, I mean, she had this deep spiritual connection from the beginning, and she goes to Egypt pretty much every year. And her company, who travels to Egypt, goes like twice a year. And 2 years ago, I went with them, and I love to travel. First of all, I've been to 50 countries in both polar regions, and I really just love going into different parts of the world, just setting foot on countries that have seen billions of people, that have experienced billions of people's lives, you know? It's like when you find a really gigantic boulder that's about the size of a building, and you're like, okay, this rock has been here for eons, you know? When my mom took me to Norway, we were going down the Trolls fjord, and it was really narrow, so the rocks were really up close. The rock walls, I should say, that, you know, because it's a fjord, so it's really narrow and high, you know. And the geologist on board comes on the PA system and says, the rocks you're looking at are 1.87 billion years old. She's like, wow. So I pretty much all my travels, I bring something back, you know, like it adds to who I am. And I just had such a wonderful experience in Egypt. And my roommate, who I stayed with, you know, I'd never seen her before, but that trip, she and I have stayed in contact, and we're actually going together again. So that'll be so much fun. We'll be rooming together, and we just, you know, one of those people that you just hit it off with. And so I'll be floating up the Nile again and going to all these ancient sites, even though I've already been there, you know. But it was just such an amazing experience. So I'm really looking forward to this. And apparently, either yesterday or today, the Egyptians like peacefully protested their military leader or something like that. I was listening to it briefly on NPR today. I just dropped some herb down the side of my chair. Charming. What is that? A piece of popcorn. That's nice. What else will I find down here? Let's see. What was I talking about? Egypt, but that's kind of done. So I'm really looking forward to school to be done. Just, you know, I've been taking a cultural anthropology class, and I actually worked in the anthropology collections at a science museum in Michigan. Like, I handled with gloves ancient artifacts, and I thought this class was going to be really interesting, and it's just not. It's just been this college level, all these special requirements for transferring to a university class, and it's just been really restrictive. And I feel like if I had my creative freedom a little bit more, I could have done a better effort in the class. I mean, right now I think I'm floating a bee. I don't know. Anyway. But my philosophy class is good. But the problem is that I can remember stuff for a test. You know, what I do is I always write the definitions out, and by writing it, like, it sticks in there. But then, like, 2 weeks after the test is over, if you ask me what one of the terms was, I wouldn't be able to tell you, even though I knew it, you know? And that's where, you know, herb is a setback mentally. It does fuck with your synapses a little bit. Just don't want to overdo it, you know? Am I going to sneeze? I'm a big time sneezer. I am a big time sneezer. That bowl's done. So anyway, as I said, this was cherry pie, outdoor. About $25 for an eighth, which is probably expensive. But it's a dispensary, and they have to deal with so many, you know, laws. They walk such a fine line, you know. Somebody just text me. Yes, I'm in Sacramento again. I bet you are excited. Why would I be excited that he's in Sacramento? This guy that I know, we dated briefly, but, you know, he's a nice guy, and I decided, you know, let's just see each other socially and not see each other on a romantic level. And he was like, okay. So, you know, because we both just have events that we like to go to with people, you know. I mean, I've lived by myself so much that I honestly could not take a roommate now. I mean, I had boarding school roommates, and it never ended well. Ever. So it's just like, you know, it takes two to tango. I'll admit that. I forget why I mentioned the roommate thing. Stoner Ramble. So I want to hear from you guys that actually watched this video, all 36 of you. You Tell me about my video. Like, can you hear me? I think I've had complaints in the past. Well, not complaints. Comments in the past that you can't hear me enough. Like, I'm too far away from the microphone. Ooh, look at all the wrinkles. Oh, yay. So, anyway, it's me, the ST. I don't know why I put my hair back again. I look so icky with my hair back. Although I had one boyfriend who said he liked my hair back, but, that doesn't mean his opinion matters. Oh, right, Richard. Okay, so I was telling you about Richard. Okay, so he took me geocaching, which, for somebody, who came from wealthy backgrounds, just born into it, I didn't have anything to do with it. Geocaching is like the poor man's Game Boy. It's you have to have a GPS, and it's like, why would you have a GPS unless you go camping? So I guess if you're a camping fanatic, then you love geocaching. Who knows? There's also something called like letterboxing or window boxing or something like that, where there's like a box hidden out in the wilderness somewhere, and there's like a stamp in it and somewhere. I don't know. This is so bizarre to me. I've never heard of this stuff. So he took me geocaching one time, and he said you have to bring something to put in the geocache. You take something out and you put something in. Totally hippy dippy stuff, which is fun. Well, long story longer, I have an extensive Smurf collection. I have all the Smurfs that I played with when I was a child, and I really wish I hadn't done this, and I decided to add to my collection, and I went on eBay and I bought a whole bunch of Smurfs, and I really wish I hadn't done that because now I can't really remember all the ones that were mine. And I mean, there's a few that I know I remember playing with this, so that's good. But I've decided to start thinning them out, like the ones that definitely were not mine, that are like I have like a biker, but he doesn't have a bike, so it's like he can't really stand up, but he's wearing a helmet, and it's really cute. So then I take these Smurfs, these things that need homes, and I give them to the geocaches, whatever. So I texted him the other day, and I said, hey, I've got a couple Smurfs that need a new home. Do you want to go geocaching with me? How about I come? Because he lives like a 45 minutes to an hour away. And I was like, how about I come out for lunch and we go geocaching in your neck of the woods? And he was like, sounds great. Alas, he does that a lot. He says alas. It's like, alas. Alas is one of those words that can have all different kinds of connotations to it, like sure or fine. So he texted me back saying, I'm out of town for work. Gee, I wish I had a job that didn't require so much travel. Har, 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 har. And so I texted him back, all right, well, let me know when, you're back in town and you want to do it. I left the ball in his court, because the reason why I didn't date him for very long was because the guy can't really hold a conversation. He can do small talk, but if you want to get deep, he's always on the surface. And it was just kind of like, right. So I'm deep. I'm a Scorpio. I'm deep. I'm really fucking deep. And it sounds so funny. I'm so deep. I look so pale. I need to wear face makeup for this shit. Okay. So he texted me back, woohoo, I'm in Sacramento again. I bet you are excited. Why would I be excited? That's not where he lives. How do you feel about steel drum music, and what are you doing Saturday? So it's kind of like he's saying, hey, let's get together, but let's do stuff that I want. And that's fine, because I don't know how I feel about steel drum music. I can handle a little bit of it, but an hour or more might be abusive to my eardrums. And that's the end of that bowl. So, I mean, I don't even know what I'm doing this weekend. Probably working on my presentation at some point. And cultural anthropology presentation. Are you still listening? Are you still out there? Should I grind up some more herb? Nah, it's 8:45. I don't really need to hit it anymore. Okay, that goes away. And smash it into the keyboard. So I could say I'm tolerable to steel drum music, and I have no plans from this time to this time on Saturday. But if you wanted to know what I was doing on Saturday, he could have mentioned geocaching. Hey, how about Saturday? What are you doing Saturday? Do you want to come out and do geocaching with me? So it's just kind of like, this is one of the reasons why I didn't date him very long, because it's just like, okay. You know, like he used to text me and say, on Thursday there's this event, and on Friday there's this event. I wonder what I'm going to do with my weekend. And I would text him back like, well, I like this venue and I'm free Friday. How about that? Like, so basically he makes me do the work of getting together. So that's what he said. How do you feel about steel drum music? So meaning he knows steel drum music playing somewhere, and I'm guessing it's playing somewhere on Saturday. I don't know. Anyway, why am I even talking about this? Stoner Ramble. So I used to have so much hair. I think it's because I moved from Michigan to California, and just not living in that snowy weather, I didn't need as many layers. My head didn't need as many layers. Because I went to a dermatologist and I was like, I lost a lot of my hair. Where is it? And she's like, well, do you have stress? And I'm like, no. She's like, because stress causes a lot of hair loss. I'm like, I have no stress. And I don't. You know. So she's like, well, and she would like examine my head and she's like, well, try taking some biotin and you can do the women's, what's it called? Rogaine. You know, oh, that sounded lovely. Rogaine. Women's Rogaine. And it's just stupid. I have this 69-year-old friend who has the jowls hanging down past her chin. And one of her flaws is that she's vain. You know, she was very beautiful. I mean, she still is, but I mean, she was very beautiful in her, 30s, 20s, 30s, and 40s. And, I think women that are used to beauty and getting attention for their beauty, like through the course of their youth, have a really hard time adjusting to the fact that they've seen, in her case, 69 years. You are 69 years. Those jowls are a sign of your smiles, or something like that. I mean, I have my double chin, which I just absolutely... I can embrace the wrinkles, but the double chin drives me crazy. Let's see. Stoner Ramble. 8:45. I'm probably going to spend the next hour playing Angry Birds Epic and Sunken Secrets on my iPad, which unfortunately smashed last week, and I put clear plastic tape over it. The poor thing. It was such a good little iPad. But I'm too lazy to get a new one because all my game progress would probably be lost. So I'm gonna text back. I have no idea. Because I don't think I have any plans on Saturday. And it's kind of funny because every time I go out with him, like last time I went out with him, I'd come back from Polynesia and my dad had just died, and I was having dinner with him, and he's just kind of a social void. Like, I told him that my dad just died, and he kind of gave me the basic, oh, I'm sorry, and then he never asked me anything about that. Like, what is it like to lose a parent? Like, that's a deep question. How did it feel to learn that your father passed away? I mean, like, take interest. I mean, that's one of my biggest rules, is that I'm not going to be with someone if they're not the right person. I'm sorry. I mean, my ex-boyfriend, James, I broke up with after 6 months. Like, no. I mean, I struggled for a lot of those 6 months. Like, I felt he wasn't right after probably the 5th week. But, I give people a lot of chances. I take the time to really get to know them before I say, sorry, we're not really the best fit. All you can do is be honest. So, anyway, I am out of here. Peace, love, and ganja from the Solitary Toker. Bye.